All right, so DeAndre Swift gave his thoughts about returning to Philly, while Jalen Hurts critics got an earful from Donovan McNabb. Plus, Brian Johnson's headed to the Commanders, and the Birds are making a last-second push to bring in Brandon Staley. But first, let's run it. Hey guys, so let's start with Jalen Hurts making an appearance on the ABC sitcom Abbott Elementary.
Hey little girl, look at you all dressed up for career day.
Good one, Jalen Hurts.
Okay, personally, I don't really mind it, and I think it's kind of cool. However, there's always haters, and people start saying Jalen needs to focus and work on his craft and just be a leader. Which, say what you will about Donovan McNabb's takes, but this is one on Jalen I actually agree with.
I get tired of the questions of, do you think that, his leadership qualities of not being vocal? And I'm like, you didn't say nothing about him the last couple of years. Why are you talking about his leadership? Everyone talked about how great of a leader he was. Well, do you think that he's not telling us how hurt he is? What player tells you how hurt he is? And so it's either you're hurt or you're injured. And we're always going to be banged up. But, we're not going to take ourselves out. And I think that's where Jalen was. Yeah, he was banged up a little bit, but he was healthy enough to play. It just didn't come to the result that he wanted. And this year be a little bit different.
I know, not bad, which is kind of surprising given the takes from Donovan in the past, but what do you guys think? And believe me, it's going to be better. Oh, by the way, BG and Kelce made an appearance on the sitcom too. And while we're mentioning guys having a good time, Jason's really living it up in Vegas, with the GOAT taking in quite a bit of blackjack with busting the boys, and even Baker Mayfield showed up for a bit. But I think the reaction says it all, that he's been doing fairly well for himself. I mean, I guess it's like his wife Kylie said a few days ago, that she's confident he'll be successful in whatever he decides to move forward with. Naturally, we have our idea of what we want that to be, but look, I know it's not all glamour and fun 100% of the time. Those of us that watch the Kelce doc know that, and Sexy Batman certainly paid his dues, but even something as simple as seeing him toss a rugby ball around with Jordan Mailata brings a smile to my face. Of course, hopefully the big guy doesn't live too large in Vegas and burn out like the Dallas Cowboys apparently did.
All honesty, I think the main thing is we was burnt out, man. Long season, team dominantly healthy throughout the season. The legs get tired, but also, you got to give hats off to Green Bay, man. They came out with a great game plan, rolling out towards Micah and then running away from me. I feel like, that's what they needed to, get their game started, and they jumped on us fast. And
what about adjustments?
Yeah, adjustments, man. I feel like we went in the locker room and, we came out, ready with our adjustments, but still didn't go the way that we planned it to go.
Okay, this is kind of hilarious. You mean to tell me that you won the division, you had a 16-game win streak at home, the number 2 seed, your quarterback was an MVP-type candidate, or, some would at least say that, and this was also the year you were going to win the Super Bowl. No, like for real. This was the year you were supposed to win the Super Bowl, and you got burnt out? Don't get me wrong, we had a cataclysmic fall off a cliff into our season, and we all know that. But to say you burned out is definitely a take.
Sometimes I'll start a sentence, and I don't even know where it's going. I just hope I find it along the way.
Look, I get it. Maybe he just wanted to give the PC answer and wasn't going to throw Dan Quinn under the bus, but it's still kind of crazy to go with the burnt out approach. Either way, getting back to Kelce, the more we hear, the more it seems like he could be giving it another go. And honestly, I think we all realize 75% Jason is better than just about every other center.
He was special. One of the most special players I've been around, since I've been coaching in the NFL. Those 2 years I was with him, just the way he played the game, the way he prepared for the game was phenomenal. And like you said, what you could do with him in the run game and him getting out in space and pulling and getting up on the second level and sometimes even the third level, on screens and getting out. It was really special to see. I mean, he's very, very rare, in what he does at his position, for sure.
I know, we've talked about it so much at this point. I'm not going to ask you whether you think Kelce's staying or going, but how do you feel about all these assistant coaches being hired in former places? In case you're not 100% up to speed, so Alex Tanney, the Birds' former QB coach, landed a passing game coordinator gig with Steichen a couple days ago. And then Marcus Brady, who was the Eagles' senior offensive assistant, also finds himself in the passing game coordinator position alongside offensive coordinator Greg Roman with the Chargers. Hold up, but it gets better. as Brian Johnson, yes, that BJ, will be the pass game coordinator for the Washington Commanders according to Jeremy Fowler. Like, what's up with all these teams hiring Philly guys to be in charge of the passing game?
It's a fool who looks for logic in the chambers of the human heart.
I don't know, maybe the league just loved seeing the Eagles' passing scheme and somehow, some way likes the potential left on the field? Because you can't deny that it's just a bit curious with all the assistants getting jobs at those same positions. Alright, in all seriousness, you guys know, and I've said this for weeks, I didn't believe in Sirianni and still don't really believe in him in the scheme, so hopefully Kellen Moore comes in and does well. However, it won't surprise me if these assistants go and do a really good job elsewhere, and you know what, heck, I wish them well, except for not whenever they're playing us, obviously. For real though, how are y'all feeling about these moves, and what does it say about Sirianni with these guys getting these other jobs? Now, I do need to mention one move that could be in the works with Jake Rabati of the Liberty Line reporting that the Eagles have shown interest in former Chargers head coach Brandon Staley as a potential addition to their defensive staff, and that there's been contact between the two sides.
Oh my God! Okay, it's happening. Everybody stay calm. What's the procedure, everyone? What's the procedure? Stay calm!
Okay, not yet, but this is a move that's not entirely out of the question, since Staley was Fangio's outside linebacker coach in Chicago in 2017 and 2018, coaching guys like Khalil Mack and Leonard Floyd. And then again in 2019 when Fangio was in Denver with Von Miller and Bradley Chubb. So there's no doubt about the connection and mutual interest, yet to me the bigger uncertainty is, does Staley want to take this type of demotion? Sure, you can point to Joe Barry moving from defensive coordinator to linebacker coach in Miami, or Mike Caldwell doing the same thing to go to the Raiders, but this would be going all the way from a head coach to a positional coach. Plus, like I've talked about before, Staley doesn't seem to be the biggest Howie Roseman fan. Remember, he canceled an interview on the GM back before the Birds landed on Sirianni. However, on the flip side, would we want Staley given some of the locker room concerns in his past role? In case you're not exactly sure what I'm talking about, so first you have the 63-point beatdown from the Raiders last season. Not a great data point for the defensive argument. Yes, I realize they weren't all offensive touchdowns, but let's also not forget after being up 27-0 against Jacksonville 2 years ago in the playoffs that his squad allowed the third largest comeback in NFL history, only to address the players after the game saying, "Games like this happen in the NFL, fellas," which reportedly and understandably annoyed some players, with some feeling like Staley was shifting ownership of the collapse off the squad and himself as a regular occurrence.
Well, there is an explanation that involves me not letting it happen, and I don't know.
Oh, by the way, after that Raiders game this season, Staley said the exact same thing of games like this happen. To be fair, I'd be a little bit annoyed with that same rhetoric. And additionally, there were reports that Staley changed things up so often that it confused players and coaches, which is perhaps what led to the Chargers being 30th during Staley's tenure in yards per play, points, and rushing yards per game. Obviously not the best, but hey, some guys just aren't good at leading a team or maybe try to take on too many responsibilities. So if you get back to a main responsibility of just coaching linebackers, I think it could be promising. Also, in case you're asking, wait, didn't we already hire a linebacker coach like yesterday? Yes, we did, except Fangio typically likes to have an inside linebackers coach and an outside linebackers coach given his unique system, thus the reason Staley's being considered for outside linebacker coach. But alright, given all that extra info and potential to bring him in, how would you guys feel about Staley coming to Philly? I will say that it'd benefit Haason Reddick, and hey, we'd get to see more of his celly, which the 29-year-old shared more about the meaning behind it.
What's up, y'all? Haas here. Going over my celebration. The thumbs up to the thumbs down. I was watching Gladiator for, I don't know, the 20th time. I'm big on gladiator history, warriors from the past. It's a big thing of mine. I look at it as this is how sports transition. Getting a sack is a pretty big thing, especially for my position. And like gladiator battles in the movies, they get the extra crowd if they want to show them mercy or if they want the execution. So I just brought that, something fun, something that people will recognize when they see it, brought it to the game. And it just so happened that everybody loves it.
So would you say you think about the Roman Empire a lot then?
Oh, yeah, like I said, I'm big on all of that. Achilles, Greek gods, even some African warriors like Shaka Zulu. Been fascinated with it since I was young. I wouldn't consider myself a history buff, but when it comes to things of that nature and that topic, you're definitely spot on.
I like it, and I'll give you another reason to celebrate, because Kellen Moore is not Brian Johnson. As Shane Half shared, some of the biggest differences we'll see in Moore's offense being a low shotgun usage rate, as well as near the very bottom of the league in screenplays, and using quite a bit of designed rollouts from under center. Not gonna lie, I can't wait to see Jalen roll out more with his threat to run, plus the big-time potential in the outside zone running game. And maybe that's why DeAndre Swift wants to return to Philly.
Only time would tell. I would love to be be an Eagle again. I would love to.
Okay, obviously that's not much to go off of because Miles Sanders said essentially the same thing, but Agent Zero is different. So maybe there's a chance, although it still feels unlikely. All right, live stream for a Friday night hangout at 8 p.m. Eastern if you guys want to swing by. And hey, who knows, maybe we have a new coach by then. This has been the Philly Special.